With just 5 races left in the season, the King felt that he had his 18th championship well in hand. That was until a couple of young up-and-comers felt that they had a shot at victory circle. Indeed, the Garrity power of Pittman would propel him past the King for a preliminary final win, while the Cajun sensation would follow in the footsteps of his mentor, stealing the lead with a scant 4 laps to go in the main event. Now, for the final stop, the Outlaws have rolled into the town that never sleeps. With Lady Luck waiting on a table, the Outlaws have put their faith on the roll of the dice, hoping for pay dirt. The King Kinzer comes into Vegas, firmly entrenched in first, while the new Lasoski holds down second. The battle intensifies for third, fourth, and fifth between Saldana, Pittman, and Schatz. A win by any of the 3 will drastically change the odds. Coming up next on the new address for the Outlaws, it's the season finale from Las Vegas, Nevada. Roll the dice and hope Lady Luck is on your side. The World of Outlaws take on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway Dirt Track next, only on the Outdoor Channel. From the Las Vegas Motor Speedway Dirt Track, it's the final race of the 25th anniversary season of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. Hello everyone, I'm Art Ekman, and welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. We're in the pits with Steve Kinzer, the king of the Outlaws, and all he has to do is make an appearance tonight to nail down his 18th championship. Steve, it's not as if you didn't have a lot of competition because 18 different winners throughout the season.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition. It's, we had, 15, 20 cars with us most of the year, and these guys are capable of winning a race any night. But we've had an exceptionally good race car all year ourselves. Scott Gherkin and the Quaker State team have put a good race car under me every night.
Now, last year, you sewed up the title early. I think it was Hollywood Hills, and then you came to Las Vegas, the final race of the year, and swept the whole weekend. I mean, what gives you that tenacity, that self-motivation to come back year after year and run over 100 races?
Well, it's just something that I've done so long. I'm sort of used to it. It's a part of life for me, I guess, and I still enjoy racing a lot. And I guess when you're out here at Vegas, it's always nice to it's the last race, so you get to take a little time off. But a couple of weeks we'll be ready to race again, and there won't be no place to run.
The lifeblood of any series, of course, is the young blood, the young lions coming up through the ranks this year. 5 different first-time winners. Let's go to Brad Doty down pit row here a little ways, and he's with the Kevin Goldberg Rookie of the Year.
Art, I'm down here with Jason Sides, who won the Rookie of the Year with consistency, qualified for all but 4 main events. Man, what a great season, Jason, especially your first year with the World of Outlaws. Did you expect that?
Well, we had big, high expectations coming in, but, to run as well as we did and to make all but 4 shows, I mean, that was, a lot of them were tough. I mean, the 4 that we missed were like the races at Ohio, Eldora, and a couple of the Pennsylvania tracks. So, I mean, all in all, we had a really good year.
Well, you really did. Now, you were real close to being on that list of first-time winners. Man, I still remember the races I lost on the last lap, and you lost a big one right on the last corner of the last lap. Emotionally, how did you deal with that? Did you put it behind you right away, or did it take a while?
Well, I mean, it was a tough race there. We passed the King there with 2 to go, and then right at the last corner, Darren Pittman, he got by us on the outside, and we actually bumped and crashed there together going across the line for the finish line there. And it's tough to lose like that, but it was going to be a good finish for the fans and everybody. So, it's still out there. We might can win tonight.
Well, there's still 1 race left tonight. Maybe you can pull it off. Back to you, Art.
Well, they're going to have to steal Steve Kinzer's car if they're going to prevent him from winning a championship here tonight, it looks like. But another young man who has had a tremendous season. 10 wins on the season. Danny Lasoski. And Danny, you've made this points race exciting throughout the year.
Well, we've sure tried to make it as difficult as we could on him, but hey, that's why he's the king. You know, my hat's off to not only him but his whole team. They've done a great job, and that's just going to make us work harder over the winter to try back and steal it from him next year.
Well, we talked to him and we said last year, you know, you had it wrapped up. You came into Las Vegas and swept the weekend. I want to know, are you going to try to steal the limelight? Are you going to go out and win on the way out?
Well, that'd be the way to go. I think that's what he deserves. He deserves us to whip him here. But, hey, he's tough along with the rest of these competitors are really good. We're just going to come out and give 110% and hope we can pull this thing off.
You can hear the engines firing up. We're about ready to go. The preliminary feature is up next when the O'Reilly World of Outlaws returns to Las Vegas here on the Outdoor Channel. Welcome back to the O'Reilly World of Outlaws in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yesterday, the run for points started with a 25-lap preliminary feature race. The drivers, and a salute to the fans here in this great Las Vegas arena, 4 abreast, and the fans standing up, waving to the drivers as they come by. A speed track, Brad. Last March, Shane Stewart setting the lap qualifying record of 130.548 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's an average speed, Art, so they're well over 140 miles an hour on the straightaways. That's what you get on these big high-speed half miles like this, wide sweeping turns. They carry a lot of speed.
In this field, Tim Schaefer, and he took his Beef Packers machine in early March for a sweep, winning this preliminary round at that time, and also the main event, Brad.
I tell you, my guys did an excellent job with the Beef Packer car. Dennis and Tricia Roth gave us an excellent car, and the guys, like I said, they did a great job. It makes my job a lot easier, and you know, we got fortune, had some luck, and won in both nights, and that, tell you, that's a great feeling to come out of Vegas winning both races.
On the pole was Danny Lasowski, who had won his qualifying heat and dash. Alongside him in the front row, Terry McCarl out of Pleasant Hill, Iowa. And you know, Brad, it kind of looked like a Knoxville Raceway front row.
Yeah, both these guys multiple champions at Knoxville Raceway. This racetrack a lot like Knoxville, big and fast and wide. In
row 2 is Joey Saldana, who was only a 1/10 of a second off the track, 1-lap speed record in qualifying time trials. Steve Kinzer is next to him. Back in row 5, number 83 is Tim Schaefer, and the season's first main event winner. He's in the 7T is Tim Kading. He's in row 7. Rookie of the Year Jason Sides got into the field on a provisional. Danny Lasowski from Dover, Missouri, in the JD Byrider Home Depot machine is on that inside pole. We'll see if the dude can hold on as we're under green. Lasowski, whoa, did he accelerate down the front stretch and into turn 1?
Got to hold that moisture off the bottom, Mark. Got a great jump on Terry McCarl. And going into turn 3, always slow down. I think they're going to bring this one back. He had too big a jump. They got to be side by side when they get to that white line out of turn 4.
So we're under caution to realign right now. Lasowski, as we mentioned, had such an outstanding season. He held the points lead for 46 of the first 47 events. Ended up with 10 wins, and he wants to end this season with a victory.
Point championship's about out of reach for him, but boy, what better way to go into the winter than to win the main event?
Lasowski, number 20. You see him there on the inside. Number 24 is McCarl on the outside front row. Look at Kinzer in the bright green number 11 Quaker State machine. And he's in the second row on the outside. At number 17 is Saldana. And he still wants to nail down that third place in the points as we get ready for the restart here in the preliminary. The preliminary feature is underway once again. And once again, number 20, Lasowski is just taken out with it.
Yeah, not much McCarl can do on the outside. A little bit slick right there in the middle on the start. And Lasowski on that bottom again, just getting a better forward bite up off the corner.
Lasowski continuing his dominance now with a whole shot and the lead. We anticipate that battle for second place pretty soon. Steve Kinzer and McCarl, that's for sure. Here's our leader, number 20, Lasowski, and he's just pulling out a lead on Steve Kinzer and McCarl. There's Kinzer underneath, and then McCarl comes back. McCarl with a great move on the 4th turn.
Yeah, McCarl's able to turn the car and drive down across, get a hold of that moisture, and drive back by Steve Kinzer.
Outstanding move by McCarl. And it just helps the guy out front.
Well, it was a counter move, yeah, by McCarl. Good move by Steve to get by, and McCarl jumps the cushion there.
And now Kinzer tried the inside, but he couldn't get the grab.
Boy, and you could see how he slid up across the slick part of the racetrack, lost a lot of room to McCarl. He's searching all over. He goes in on the bottom, now he goes to the top.
And look at Saldana. He's closing in on Kinzer for 3rd, and we saw in that last shot.
And the reason for that, Steve going in on the bottom, sliding up across the racetrack. It took a lot of time, and Saldana was able to close in.
And the caution flag is going to have to come out pretty soon because I think Brian Brown is slowing down. Yes, he is. Number 6. Look at that. He's got a flat tire.
Brian Brown's the nephew of leader Danny Lasowski. Brown going to run a full season with the World of Outlaws next year. Did the smart thing. He rolled up by the work area, World of Outlaws rules, he'll get 2 laps to change that tire and restart at the tail of the field.
We'll be right back to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway Dirt Track, the final race of the 25th anniversary year of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. Welcome back to Las Vegas, the final event of the year for the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. A restart after the flat tire for Brown. 4 laps complete, 21 to go in this preliminary feature. Number 20, Lasowski, is at the head of the field as we go back under green. Look at there, number 11. Oh, he almost tried the inside but couldn't do it.
The World of Outlaws put a cone out on the front straightaway. The rules say you can't pass to get to that cone, and Steve had to check up, get back in line behind McCarl, and couldn't make the pass.
But McCarl has to be careful right there in second place because he's got the King right behind him in the number 11 green machine. The Quaker State machine tried again.
Steve goes to the bottom, getting hold of that wet dirt down there, gets a good bite, drives by McCarl, but McCarl not giving up.
McCarl comes back after saving it. Look at that. McCarl losing control finally, and Kinzer gets the pass.
Yeah, McCarl just got in too hard, put that slider on Steve McCarl and busted up through the cushion and about got the wall.
Well, Lasowski right now is taking advantage, I think, of that battle, Brad, because he's a straightaway ahead of Kinzer now.
Yeah, and Sammy Swindell going by McCarl there, same thing. That slide job slides up and takes the line, gets a hold of moisture, and drives by McCarl.
Sammy Swindell, 2 wins on this season, Eldora and Bridgeport. In fact, he set a speed record at Bridgeport, winning a caution-free main event in 8 minutes, 29.53 seconds. Here's our leader now, though, and that's Lasowski, number 20. And, you know, Kinzer is just trying desperately to find the right traction to pick up some time on him.
Well, he's got to move around back there. When you're in second spot like that, there you saw him on the bottom. Now he's at the top. He's just moving around, but look at Lasowski way out front there. Danny is the leader. He's got to search around too because he doesn't want to get slowed down or get caught in traffic.
It looks like to me that Kinzer's bottoming out as well, looking for the right groove.
Well, that's part of what that wing does. You see the frame at the end of the straightaway. That's all that air pressure over that top wing that buries those rear tires into the racetrack.
18 laps complete. Lasowski, Kinzer, Swindell, McCarl, and Sedana in that order.
And remember, the top 4 of this main event transfer automatically into the tomorrow night's A main, so they desperately want to hold on to that top 4 spot.
That's right. They go right to that dash, don't they?
And there you saw Danny, just a little bit of a slip-up, slid off the bottom, got that lefter out of that brown dirt, had to what we call wait on the race car. Means he couldn't pick the throttle back up till that race car got straight. Meanwhile, Sammy Swindell up on the cushion, see that brown dirt under those rear tires as he's closing in on Steve Kinzer.
A real bad. Oh, look at the sparks flying in the turn on Paul McMahon's car.
Yeah, hard to tell, Art, if that was the frame bottoming out or sparks off the brake pads, but he's a lap car. Maybe that's part of his problem.
He moves up top now as Lasowski works that bottom line. And Kinzer, he wants to go outside.
Yeah, again, now he's back to the bottom. See that brown dirt down there? That's what they want to keep those tires on to get a hold of.
Kinzer in second place, number 20, Lasowski. You see him in front of McMahon there, the lap traffic. He goes up top, and you saw sparks coming out of Kinzer's car.
Yeah, same thing. Not quite as bad as the sparks we saw out of McMahon, but look at Sammy Swindell trying to get on the inside of Steve Kinzer.
Oh, that's a real battle. Swindell showed him a wheel, and now Kinzer takes off on him.
Yeah, that's getting underneath the Brian Brown. We saw he had the flat tire, had to go to the tail. And look at Sammy driving underneath, putting that slide job on. Kinzer had to actually get out of the throttle a little bit there and try to turn the car to get back underneath the Swindell.
Sammy Swindell goes into second place. Boy, he's a feisty fighter, a former champion.
It's Steve Kinzer and Sammy Swindell, rivals for many, many years. The 2 guys that's been on this circuit the longest.
Danny Lasowski, 10 wins. That's main event victories so far this year. Second place in the points, as we mentioned. But you know, Brett, he hasn't won since August 31st.
Boy, and that is a dry spell for him and that team, so he's desperately wanting to win tonight.
Sammy Swindell, number 1, not to be mistaken by 1X Randy Hannigan out of San Jose, California. They're running together, but Hannigan is the lap driver. As we go back to number 20, our leader, Lasowski. He's got to be just hoping everything holds together right now because he's been dominating.
Yeah, he lapped Jason Solwald there. He slid in, had to wait a little bit again, slid clear across the racetrack, waiting to get their right rear tire up in that moisture. Now he's off the bottom, down the back straightaway. Let's see if he goes in on the top. Yes, he does, trying to lean up there, see that brown dirt. They want to keep that right rear right against that.
Here's Kinzer. He gave it a good run, but he just hasn't been able to put pressure on the leaders.
Yeah, his car looks loose to me, Art. That means that too much wheel spin on the rear tires. You see him kind of slip sliding around the racetrack as Dan Lasowski lapping another guy there, Jonathan Allard.
Allard out of Chico, California. Lasowski just having his own now. Hits the inside, gets good traction in the corner. Oh, he flew through that.
Yeah, Jimmy Carr, crew chief, that car has that thing working anywhere he wants to run on the racetrack. High or low, it doesn't matter. And look at the lead he's got. Man, he just stretched out. These guys back here just kind of helpless right now. Steve Kinzer, what he's got to focus on back there is what can I do to this race car to make it faster maybe for tomorrow night, or where are we lacking? What's making Danny Lasowski so much faster than me?
The dude, number 20, is so far in front, he could almost look around and see second place Sammy Swindell or third place Kinzer when he makes the turn.
Well, what they'll do is when they slide through the corners, especially going up across the top, that does give you a chance to glance over your shoulder to see if anybody's there or not, and hopefully you don't see anybody. It's all kind of a feel, and you listen and try to hear competition around you. Sometimes you don't know if it's a lap car that you might hear. Danny does not know he's this far ahead, I'm sure, at this point.
No spotters for you on radio, no rear view mirrors. It's just what you can see out of that cockpit.
Oh, that's the joy of sprint car racing. It's called sprint cars because it's a sprint to the finish. You go as hard as you can from green to checker.
There's Hannigan once again. Look at him work that wheel.
It's Lasowski just going by Jason Sides there. Another lap car. Sides battling back on the inside, but just trying to get his lap back. That's not for position.
And the checkered flag is out. The checker flag waves for Lasowski. Danny Lasowski, as we mentioned, his first win since the end of August. Sammy Swindell in second place. Steve Kinzer loses some points to Lasowski, but he hits a third place. McCarl in fourth. Herrera fifth. Saldana gains 1 point in the battle to lock in third place in the standings, 1 point ahead of Pittman.
Now remember, McCarl, that fourth spot, only the top four locked in for tomorrow night's A-Main.
Danny Lasowski's got to be a happy guy. He's won his heat. He's won the dash. He's won this preliminary feature. He has got momentum.
Yeah, the Jimmy Carr, I bet they won't change anything on that race car. They'll just wash it off, mount up some new tires, and be ready for tomorrow night.
Go back and cross your fingers. Ian Howard, he's with our winner.
I tell you what, I got to take my hat off to this whole J.D. Byrider Home Depot Mopar team. You know, Tony Stewart gave us all the tools to put this team together, and having guys like Jimmy Carr, you know, turn the wrench with Todd Spling, I got the really easy job of driving this thing. And you know, we've actually struggled the last 6 weeks and let the point deal get away from us. And it's nothing against anybody. You know, the green team did an awesome job. You know, they did what they had to do, and it's just disappointing to come this far and not be real close, bring it down to the last night. But the bottom line is the most important race of the year, the whole year, was Knoxville Nationals, and we won that one, so that really means a lot to us.
Even though he won second place, it certainly wasn't an easy task. Sammy Swindell holding off the king of the Outlaws for that second place finish. Ian's with him now.
The car was going pretty good. I mean, it's a little looser than I would like for it to be, but you know, we'll work on it. We made some changes, some things we want to try, and so it was kind of a little bit of an R&D night. So it worked. We're real happy with the things that we did, and I think we can tune it up a little bit for tomorrow night.
When the O'Reilly World of Outlaws from Las Vegas returns, highlights of the qualifying heats just around the corner. Stay with us. We're back at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway dirt track for the season finale, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. Let's take a look at today's earlier qualifying. First of all, the time trials, and Joey Saldana just took away with it. Not only on the first night of qualifying, where he came 1/10 of a second from the track record, but here on the second night.
Yeah, he only had one fast time prior to this weekend, and he gets quick time both nights.
We were like Danny Lasowski was this year. We set like 28 fast times. Going into this weekend, we only had one fast time the whole year. We've been blowing motors up, seems like every weekend. So to come out the final race of the year, have 2 fast times in a row, that means a lot to our team.
In Heat 1, the 11H of Paul McMahon and the 11K of Craig Kinzer came off the front row and had a good close battle in the early going for the lead.
Kind of surprising, Craig Kinzer on the outside actually got the jump from the outside position and kind of got away from McMahon here at this point.
After Kinzer took over, McMahon, the 2-time main event winner on the season, hung in there for second place.
Yeah, he's not giving up. You can see him moving around, went from the top to the bottom. Right there on Craig Kinzer, down the back straightaway now.
It was number 17, Joey Saldana, nailing down third.
Craig Kinzer out front where he wants to be in clean air, just feeling that race car out right now, Art.
Craig, Steve's son. That must be a great thrill for Steve Kinzer.
Oh, it is. You know, Craig ran second at a race one time, and Steve Kinzer stopped. He ran sixth and stopped in the front straightaway and heard the Outlaw officials think he was mad at somebody going to get out, and he actually went up and gave his son a hug. He was just elated that he had a second place finish.
Craig scoring a career best this year, a second at Texas Motor Speedway in March. Here's the official results page for heat number 1. Craig Kinzer winning it, of course. McMahon, Saldana. Then it's Neer and Schaefer rounding out the top 5.
Once we got an open track, the car just hooked up, and it was pretty much driving me just about the last couple of laps. And
Heat 2 of qualifying. The 18S of Jason Sowald out of Mount Vernon, Washington. He went from pole to checkers, holding off number 5, Johnny Herrera. But look at this action. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Brian Brown actually moved down, hit Hodgson, moved and bumped him into the infield. Man, tough break for Hodgson.
The Canadian going off the track to the inside. Out of trouble anyway. It was Sowald, Herrera, Jonathan Allard, and Brian Brown getting the transfer spot.
Good job for Sowald. He comes from the Northwest. Generally runs small racetracks, quarter miles, little bull rings they call them, and boy, he's doing really well on a big high-speed racetrack.
For Heat 2 officially, it's Jason Sowald winning, with Johnny Herrera in second place, Allard, Brown, and Hannigan rounding out the top 5.
You get out there in the lead, you know, there's not too many cars out in front of you. We got up to lap traffic there towards the end, but luckily the laps came away pretty quick.
In the third qualifying heat, number 35, Jeff Shepard of C&W Motorsports took advantage of the outside position of the front row to get the jump on the pole sitter, Brian Paulus. Paulus, one of the 18 different winners this year.
One of the first-time winners that we've had this year, also the one and only win for him. So he's looking at finishing out the year with another win, hopefully.
The big move was made by number 7, Craig Delansky. In only his second race coming back from a serious injury that put him out of action in May, he moved from 4th to tighten up the battle for the lead right here. Number 7 to the inside.
You can see the car, what we call wing down. That's the air pressure over that top wing, bearing that left rear tire into the racetrack.
Shepard pulled away. Delansky held on to second place. Paulus in third. The wild child, Jack Hodenshield, took the final transfer spot. But all eyes were on number 35, Jess Shepard. For Heat 3, the official results, Shepard winning. Good to see Craig Delansky back on track. Paulus, Hodenshield, and Barry Hill rounding out the top 5.
You know, we struggled a little bit earlier this weekend. We changed motors, changed the car around a little bit like that. Car's pretty nice. We're getting a lot closer than we were last night.
In the beginning of Heat 4, it was a good matchup between the 2003 Rookie of the Year, Jason Sides, and the first main event winner of the year, Tim Kading.
Well, we're in Vegas. We got a pair of 7s on the front row. Kading getting a good drive off the bottom, goes by Sides on the back straightaway.
Sides in the white machine in second place. That's Schatz in the yellow versus Pittman in the blue.
Pittman got a good run, got underneath the Schatz, and got to hold that moisture, move Schatz out a little bit, and made the pass.
Kading, though, pulls away out front.
You can see right there another shot of that air pushing on that wing. You can see the left rear bearing down as it come off the corner.
And there's Schatz in the yellow, number 15.
Pittman right in front of him in the blue car. Made that pass. That's for the 4th and final transfer spot. They got a battle going on there.
Kading, he's a third-generation racer.
Yeah, his grandpa, a great racer out in Northern California. His dad, a multi-Golden State Challenge champion out in California. Got a brother, Bud, that runs USAC in the Midwest. A great history there with the Kading family. See the car get a little sideways there. He counter-steered, set it back straight as he takes the checkered.
The season's first main event winner takes heat number 4 with the Rookie of the Year, Jason Sides, in second. Pittman, Schatz, and Crockett.
You know, just to get up front and run with these guys, it's real nice, and it is a confidence builder for us.
With the heats in the history books, who will make it through the mains and who has the power to secure the pole in the all-important dash? Plenty more racing ahead when the O'Reilly World of Outlaws returns here on the Outdoor Channel. It's a packed house on a brisk night in Las Vegas as we continue to celebrate our 25th anniversary year of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. Continuing our highlights of qualifying in the C main, it's a 10-lap race with only 2 advancing to the main event. The others pack up and head home. Number 92 versus 71 in this race in the early going. Number 92, Andy Forsberg, took the whole shot from the pole position. He's from Auburn, California. The guy on the move, though, Brad, was number 10 seed Jeremy Campbell.
Yeah, there's there. You see him get a run on the outside of Forsberg. Forsberg moved up. Of course, he didn't know he was there. And Campbell really went up in the loose stuff there and lost a lot of ground.
Campbell, though, threw out, gave Forsberg all he could handle. Here he comes again. Campbell to the outside. Forsberg bobbled a little bit, and then, oh, they just barely got by this accident. With only a couple laps to go, the restart, boy, that turned into exciting action. It was a sprint to the checkers. Forsberg was all right out in front, but 17-year-old Brandon Wimmer, he made things exciting, taking the inside of turn 2 to pass Campbell and set up a great race for second place. Campbell coming right back. But it was another youngster, Campbell, who took the final transfer spot behind the winner, Andy Forsberg.
We're going to do our best. Coming from the back of the B, it's a long shot. There's a lot of cars, and I'm just going to try to miss the Grex and roll this thing in the trailer.
The 5-lap dash consisted of the top 4 drivers from Friday night's preliminary feature and the 4 fastest qualifiers who transferred through their heats. And we had former champions Danny Lasowski on the pole with Sammy Swindell on the outside pole, and a guy who just won his 18th championship, Steve Kinzer.
Look at that, got a run on Sammy down the front straight. Oh, look at that, lifts the front wheels right off the ground, Art. He tucked in behind Sammy Swindell. That shows what the nose wing of these cars do. Got the air off of it from Sammy's car, and it lifted the front wheels right up in the air.
Lasowski continues to dominate. He doesn't want to leave the impression of second best in this final event of the season, that's for sure. But I got to hand it to the old veteran back there, Steve Kinzer. He just wants to up a position every time he comes on the track.
I'll tell you, I was talking to his crew chief, Scott Gherkin, and he's telling me that guy is as fired up as when he met him.
With that white flag final lap on their way, Lasowski had it in the bag.
Now remember, the way they finish this dash is the way they line up the A-main, so every spot is critical.
So the accomplished veterans, they top the list here with Lasowski, Swindell, and Kinzer.
I'll tell you what, this thing's handling really good. Jimmy Carr's done a great job with this JD Byrider car. And, again, Paul Kissler, Jerry Russell, and all these guys that's worked behind the scenes making this thing fast. I just got the lucky job of driving it.
The B main was another last chance qualifier. 12 laps of action with only the top 4 transferring to the main event. The others packing up and going home.
And that puts a lot of pressure on the driver. You know this is it. You got to get it done. If you starting back out of that second or third row, you got to make something happen and force your way to the front.
Well, Schaefer right there, number 83, made something happen coming to the inside in turn 3 to pass number 111, Crockett. Out in front, meanwhile, Randy Hannigan holds down the top spot. It was Bork, though, spinning out in turn 2, number 27, forcing a restart. On the restart, we see that Schaefer's in the lead again, Hannigan in second, but Myers had moved into third with Crockett on the bubble in fourth. Schaefer's impressive here, Brad. He's just pulling away.
Boy, he really is. And I said earlier, he made a little bit of a bobble, lost some ground to Hannigan. Boy, he made up a bunch of ground in only a short time there.
And then the caution flag came out, plumbing into the wall between 3 and 4. Number 27, Patrick Bork, and number 4L, Doug Lippincott, also involved. On the single file restart, the battle for fourth is still very present.
Yeah, there's Hodgson and Crockett back there still going at it. Remember, only top 4 go to the main, but meanwhile, Tim Schaefer there on the bottom, a good run. You see him coming out of turn 2, driving away from Hannigan.
Schaefer looking very strong in this B main event. And here's our second place driver, Hannigan. Crockett holding in well. As we take a look at our leader.
Just because Schaefer a little high right there, had to flitch the car, keep it out of the wall, but just because he has a big lead right now, he's got to focus on what he has to do to that car to make it faster for the next race, and that's the A main. Look at that, Hannigan gaining a little bit on him on the outside. Got to run a little bit, but boy, Schaefer doesn't want to make any mistakes.
The checkers for Schaefer. Hannigan taking second place. Crockett and Myers in that order. The checkers and the caution came out at the same time as Destiny Hayes turned around backwards in turn 2.
We'd like to win the thing. It's going to be a little tough from the back, but I tell you what, we ain't going to give up.
The pole is set, but can the King upset the Dude off the start? The main event up next when the O'Reilly World of Outlaws returns from Las Vegas Motor Speedway here on the Outdoor Channel. The cars for our main event with the traditional 4 abreast, the riders saluting the fans, and the fans all standing, some of them waving, and we're set to go with one of the most exciting shows on dirt. What's it like being in that car, Brad?
I'll tell you, the adrenaline's flowing anyway, but you look up and you see all those people in the grandstands cheering for you and waving their hats and all that. I'll tell you, it's just so exciting. The heart rate really picks up at this point.
Taking a look at the starting lineup now. On the pole, Danny Lasowski, the former champion, to finish second in points. On the outside front row, Sammy Swindell, the former 3-time champion. Row 2, Steve Kinzer, after clinching his 18th championship of this series. Number 17, Joey Saldana, top speed in qualifying, looking to clinch third in the points. Looking at some of the other drivers now in the third row, Craig Delansky, his second race back is all after the injury. Donnie Schatz, the winner of the Hard Charger Award, is in row 4. Down in row 8, Tim Kading, the winner of the season's opener, right alongside our Rookie of the Year for this year, Jason Sides. So we're set for the main event. 30 laps of action. The winner getting $17,000. Second place, not that bad. $9,000 for second place. Lasowski looks as dominating as he did in qualifying. He's taken off. Swindell in second place. Kinzer in third.
More importantly than the money is the bragging rights. The guy that wins the last race of the year goes into the winter time. The crew's pumped up all winter. They seem to work a little harder if you can win that last main event.
Kinzer looking like he wants to make a move on Swindell as he comes up right behind him now, but our leader is starting to pull away. He's found the right groove for him. Kinzer on the outside, Swindell on the inside. Let's see what they do out of turn 2.
It takes a lot more patience to run the bottom of the racetrack. You got to slow down, make sure you don't miss that bottom groove. On the top, you can run in almost wide open and a lot more momentum carried entering the corner if you're running the top line.
Brad Doty, is it true that Tony Stewart gave Lasowski a nickname?
Yeah, calls him the catfish, the bottom feeder, because he usually prefers the bottom line.
Here we go, Kinzer trying to make another move on Swindell. Can't quite do it yet.
Yep, Sammy got a little bit loose down there, Art, in 3 and 4, and got sideways, and Steve closed a little bit, but oh, we got a crash up here.
Oh, the crash between 3 and 4. Jason Sides did a 360 in the air. It's Craig Kinzer also involved. We're going to have a red flag on this one.
Yeah, anytime the cars get upside down, they'll stop the race, make sure the drivers are okay. They'll throw the red flag.
Only 4 laps into the race. Single line restart. Lasowski, how many of these does he has to go through holding the lead after gaining a big advantage? We're under green once again. Lasowski just gets great traction coming around that 4th turn.
Well, he really does. Right on that bottom, that thing accelerates well, using all that Mopar power he can. Look at this. Kinzer got a run on Swindell. They about get together on the back straightaway.
Look out. Swindell holding his own down below.
And Kinzer right on the top on that cushion, getting a run off of turn 4. Look at that. It goes up by Sammy. Cuts him off going into turn 1. Takes Sammy's line away, and you can see it kind of messed Swindell up there just a little bit as he slid off the bottom, and Steve was able to drive away from him.
Oh, Kinzer's next target is number 20, Lasowski. Here he is. He can't afford any mistakes now.
So far, he's been out there just comfortable by himself. Hasn't seen anybody or hasn't heard anybody for a while. No lap traffic in front of him. Got things under control right now.
Danny going low, Kinzer going up high.
Yeah, again, Steve Kinzer, one of the masters. I mean, these guys all move around on the racetrack and try to find the fast line. But boy, Steve Kinzer just seems to, especially the last 5 or 10 laps, he seems to always find something on the racetrack or something in that race car to gain positions.
Lasowski out in front. Kinzer in second. Swindell in third. But he might have a battle coming up. Joey Saldana and Donnie Schatz are starting to go at it.
Oh, and look at our leader, Danny Lasowski. Got in, he pushed, he stabbed the brakes, got the car real sideways. And look at this, Steve Kinzer gained a lot of ground on him.
That's just the kind of mistake that Kinzer's been waiting for and looking for as he goes to the outside. We're approaching lappers now.
And that's another thing Kinzer's looking for, lap traffic. Looks like out in the open, Lasowski's very fast. Look at that. Oh, Steve lost a lot of ground, though. Kinzer went in on the middle of the racetrack, had to wait and slide all the way up to the cushion. Lost a lot of ground to Lasowski.
Delansky and Herrera, meanwhile, are going at it for 6th place, but we're watching this battle because this is where it's at. The leaders. Lasowski still going down low. Kinzer still trying the high line.
And again, oh, now Steve goes to the bottom. Look at that. He's searching around like I was talking earlier. He's trying to find somewhere to get around Danny Lasowski, the leader. Look at this, lap traffic again, car on the top. Not in, oh, Lasowski gets a little sideways again down in 3 and 4.
Yes, but Kinzer has a driver right in front of him. Looks like Allard to me.
Yep, but Jonathan Allard gets out of the way. Steve Kinzer again, right through that black, though. You can see the tire spin. Loses some ground again to Lasowski. When the racetrack's black like that, that's where they start losing bite is, yeah, Danny Lasowski coming up on his nephew, Brian Brown, right in front of him. But Brown gets out of the way. Danny on the bottom there again. Oh, Steve gets a little sideways, Art, that time.
Kinzer's got Brian Brown in front of him, and our leader Lasowski's got Paulus in front of him.
Yeah, and you could see Brian Brown. Of course, he doesn't know Kinzer's back there, but Kinzer had to turn the car to go to the outside. lost a lot of ground, but the advantage usually is to the second place car in lap traffic because you just go where the leader doesn't. The leader comes up on all these lap cars, and there again, saw Lasowski get in, push a little bit, got out in the slick, and Brian Paulus' lap car almost passed him back.
Boy, he just barely got in front of Paulus to get the grip to come down the home straightaway.
Boy, it's a fine line running that bottom groove. You want to get in real straight, but not too straight to where you push it.
Number 21, Darren Pittman. He slowed off the pace and is down now between turns 3 and 4, but he's out of the action.
Yeah, they're not going to throw the caution flag, which is good. Let these guys race. Pittman was able to get off the racetrack and let these guys keep on racing.
Halfway mark, and our leader is still holding true. Kinzer just trying everything he knows in his book.
Well, you can see how hard he's trying right there. Running that cushion, front end bounced up a little bit and about tagged the wall, and there's Roger Crockett.
So with the red flag out, Lasowski still in the lead, the King Kinzer in second place, and we've got some lap traffic with Howland, Shield, Paulus, and Brown before we get to Swindell in third. When we come back, that, I think, will be the battle for third place. Swindell, Schatz, and Saldana. More coming up. It's a packed house on a brisk night in Las Vegas as we continue to celebrate our 25th anniversary year of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. Innovation is a major part of staying out front. For more, here's our very own Brad Doty with this edition of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws Tech Talk.
There have been a lot of changes made in the safety area of a sprint car since my accident to put me out of racing. The biggest change is in the seat area. They now have the double wraparound seat that helps protect the rib cage on both sides of the drivers. Back in my day, we just had it on the right side to kind of help hold you in the car through the corners. They've also added support up around the shoulders and mainly around the head area. The human head weighs about 8 pounds. You add another 2 or 3 pounds of helmet to that. It's a lot of mass weight whipping around in a violent crash. All this helps support the driver's head not only in race conditions, but in one of those violent crashes.
With 13 laps to go, it looks like it might be a battle between those two guys, number 1 and 2 in points. But let's not forget the battle for third place, where Swindell, Saldana, and Schatz are just simply tightly grouped and battling it out.
Yeah, it all depends on where those 3 lap cars go in front of Saldana and Sammy and Schatz back there. Who's going to get the pass and who's going to advance forward.
On the restart, Danny Lasowski gets a good one. Swindell, who's now in 4th, is having to hold off a hard-charging Schatz. You saw the yellow car just briefly right behind him.
Yeah, Donnie started 8th, moved up through the field. He's still coming forward. Boy, Sammy better not make too many mistakes or Schatz will be all over him.
Swindell to the outside.
Right there, you just got a glimpse of Schatz in the yellow car right behind him, still gaining ground.
Here's our leader, Lasowski. Swindell trying to hold his position, but he's got a lot of movement.
Yeah, and you can see in that shot, look how far ahead Lasowski is. There's Steve Kinzer coming in our shot, back to Swindell, who's in 4th, still trying to hang on.
And it looked like we might have a caution flag coming out because as we were following the leader here, we just passed a car that was down on the track, but he's pulled down. That's Delansky. Craig Delansky comes to a stop on the back stretch. So another caution flag is out. 20 laps completed. With only 10 laps to go, anything can still happen here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll be right back. On a cool, crisp night in Las Vegas, 2 great races within the season's finale for the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. A battle for first place between Lasowski and Kinzer, and a battle for third between Schatz and Swindell. You see the 2 front runners on our restart, then 2 lapped cars before the yellow car of Donnie Schatz from Fargo, North Dakota. He took 2nd to Kinzer in the last race at Lone Star Raceway.
Yeah, he actually had the lead. Did a 360, spun out, they threw the yellow and restarted him back up front, but Steve was still able to sweep by and take the win on the last lap or so, and Schatz, I'm sure that's still in the back of his mind.
Number 15, sweet revenge, even though it's maybe not for the win here tonight. But it just goes to show you anything could happen right now, and Lasowski knows it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to make any mistakes. A little bit slow getting into 3 and 4, and Steve looked like he gained a lot of ground entering the corner, but then again, Lasowski got a great run off of 4 and drove away. There's Donnie Schatz in the yellow 15, moving all over the racetrack. We saw him on the high side there.
He's the fastest car on the track right now.
Yeah, again, the only one really moving forward. He started 8th spot. He's battling there in 3rd spot, and looks like he's closing in on Kinzer just a little bit, but boy, that's a big lead with Lasowski and Steve out front.
$17,000 at stake for Lasowski, number 20. As Kinzer gets close, he goes the high side. And the low groove, Lasowski. Such patience by him.
It really does take a lot of patience to run that bottom, but I can guarantee you Lasowski's not thinking about the money. It's that win. He just wants to win this last race. Kinzer's got to run on the outside.
Lasowski getting up into that black portion of the track. Slips back down and gets some traction. Can he hold him off now? Down the front straightaway into one. Oh, he cut him off beautifully.
Yeah, and what happened going into turn 3, Art? Kinzer on the outside. Lasowski hadn't seen him the whole race. Kinzer got just around him enough. Lasowski was able to see him on the high side. Going down the front straightaway, did what he needed to do. Ran on top of the racetrack in 1 and 2. He hasn't run that line the whole race.
Lasowski's crew has their fingers crossed. Kinzer continues the pressure from second place. Time running out right now for the rest of the field as Lasowski has a pretty good run there in first place. Kinzer in second, but look at Schatz in third. This looks like he's the fastest car on the track right now, and they're approaching, trying to weed through lap traffic. Anything can happen here.
Yeah, Daniel Lasowski has to be a little careful through this lap traffic, make sure he doesn't take himself out.
Schatz coming through that corner beautifully. I don't think Kinzer even sees him right now. He's in such lap traffic.
Steve had to go to the bottom lap car, and it looked like he got real sideways down in 1 and 2, got behind that lap car, and you see Lasowski working the steering wheel, but Steve lost a lot of ground in that last corner. Oh, there he hits the infield berm a little bit. That cost him a little time.
And time is running out right now as Schatz is coming up almost wheel to wheel with him. Here's our leader. Schatz goes to the inside. Schatz moves into second place. The checkers are waving. Lasowski has won it, and oh, what a battle for second, and Schatz just barely edges him out. Brad Doty, let's take another look at that terrific battle for second.
Well, this all got set up about a lap earlier when Steve Kinzer got hung up by a lap car down in 1 and 2, got a little bit sideways. Schatz had to run off the top, move to the inside down the back straightaway, put that famous slide job, moved up in front of Steve Kinzer. Steve trying to battle back on the inside. Schatz did what he needed to do. He squeezed him just a little bit to hold him off for second spot.
Lasowski, he becomes the 6th driver this year to sweep a weekend. Taking a look at the official results, Danny Lasowski, of course, getting the checkers. Schatz barely edging out the champion at the line for second place. Schatz coming from 8th, showing us why he won the Hard Charger Award for passing the most cars during the season. Kinzer doesn't go home empty, of course. He's the winner of the war, his 18th championship for the season. Joey Saldana locked up in 3rd for points, finishing 4th in this race. And Sammy Swindell rounding out the top 5.
We really we worked real hard all year to try to win this championship, and we fell a little short. But you know, thanks to Tony Stewart putting together this great team that I got the privilege of driving. Couldn't do it without our man from JD Byrider, all the guys, Home Depot, Mopar, Jerry Russell, Paul Kistler, Hoosier Tires, American Press Steel, Massey Motorsports. All these guys pertain to making this thing happen, because there's no way we could do it on our own. And without having Jimmy Carr and Todd Splane, there's no way we keep up.
Well, it wasn't a win for Donnie Schatz, but beating Steve Kinzer at a tremendously exciting finish for second had to be a big highlight of the evening. Ian Howard's with him.
We just didn't go far enough with the setup on the car. We needed to tighten up more, and I think we'd have been a little closer to Danny maybe at the end. You know, Steve was giving him a good run there, but we just, you know, I guess when you're racing those guys starting 8th, quite a ways back, but it's a heck of a lot better than where we were last night.
Well, before the main event, Steve Kinzer wrapped up his 18th Series championship. He'll be back next year looking for title number 19 and win number 500. Ian?
You know, you got to thank Maxim Chassis, Sanders Engineering, and Hoosier Tires, and just everybody that's involved with our race team. We got a lot of good associate sponsors and a lot of good product sponsors too, and they all make it possible for us to be successful.
Welcome back as the Outdoor Channel presents coverage of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws from the dirt track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The 25th season of Outlaw competition is now drawn to a close, and in doing so, writing the final chapter of an exciting season of competition. With that in mind, here's a look at one such chapter in this edition of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws Action Rewind. The O'Reilly World of Outlaws Action Rewind honors go to the guy best known as Dude. Coming into Las Vegas, Danny Lasowski would trail the king in points, but the Dude's determination would prove the difference. Gunning for the lead off the start in the preliminary feature, Lasowski showed the form that put him into the winner's circle 14 times prior in 2003. Holding off charges by Kinzer and Swindell, Lasowski made it look all too easy, leading from green to checkers. The A-Main looked like a replay of the preliminary. With 27 prior pole starts in 2003, Lasowski found his line early on and never looked back. Again, Kinzer would charge, himself having to hold off shots at the end. But the dude held true to form, securing his 16th win of the season. And that's your O'Reilly World of Outlaws Action Rewind. That puts the wraps on the 25th anniversary of the O'Reilly World of Outlaws. The Outdoor Channel will return in 2004 with a full slate of action-packed racing. So keep your eye on www.outdoorchannel.com for the latest information. On behalf of our entire Outdoor Channel Motorsports crew, I'm Art Eckman. Thanks for watching. Good night from Las Vegas.